This episode of Fern and Friends is brought to you by our sponsors at Island, Mechanized AI, and Torres Event Management. Hey, good people! Welcome back to another edition of the Fern and Friends podcast, which is part of the Fern Effect. Hey, Sophie!
Hi, Fern. You've been one busy beaver of late. I see your Lone Star Live event at the Dallas Museum of Art was stellar.
Thanks, Sophie! We learned so much about what it takes to host 9 World Cup games. Dallas is all the way live right now with FIFA this summer.
I see we are having a chat with Claude Bird today. Let's get some information about Mr. Bird. Joining us today is Claude Bird, founder of Birdnest IT Services Training and Consulting. He helps organizations in highly regulated industries turn cybersecurity compliance into real, lived culture, blending NIST, ISO, and SOC 2 expertise with executive training and AI governance advisory. Welcome, Claude. Fern, turning it over to you.
Hey friends, we are back with Fern and Friends. I'm here with a good friend of mine, Mr. Claude Bird. Actually, Mr. Claude E. Bird Sr.
Oh yeah.
And he's not really happy with me because I just said, go New York, go New York, go New York, go.
Yeah, and I just told her I need to go use the bathroom.
Stop. It wasn't, so I'm a New Yorker. I thought Claude was a New Yorker too, but he, for some reason, he went for the San Antonio Spurs. It just wasn't their time, Claude.
It's okay. Listen, I am not mad that New York won. I would have just liked to seen it go to game 7. All right. I
Oh,
am a I am a New Yorker at heart, but I'm a San Antonio Spurs fan. Come on, the Admiral, Navy connection, Tim Duncan, St. Croix. It's my homeboy. I got to root for him.
okay.
But
I'll
go
give
New York, go New York, go.
go New York, go New York, go. So we're here, Fern and Friends, and we're going to talk about AI. You know, Claude, you've been in the business for 20, 25 years, and you've seen this AI transformation take over. How are you engaged with leveraging AI every day in every way?
Hey, Fern, that's such a great question. And you know, AI has definitely, in my opinion, level the playing field. And I'm going to say, it's given us old fogies a leg up
Whoa,
on.
whoa, whoa, hold up, wait a minute. That's you, because I'm holding on to 35. Ooh, 25, 35 as long as I possibly can. But I get your
I was going to give you 27, and that's even without the AI enhancements.
wow. You see what
I,
you did? Wow. Okay, go ahead.
so I mean, the tool has given us the ability to do things in split-second times. Now, here is what I think about AI and how that has helped us that's been in the industry for such a long time. It it's given us the ability to quickly put things in, get things back, and recognize whether that thing that we got back, whatever it is we're doing, does that look right?
Right.
And this is what experience gives to us. When I say old folks, let's change that to experienced practitioners.
I love that.
All right. You
Much
know,
better. Much
we know we know what good looks like.
better.
All
Hmm.
right, because of our experience. So when we put something into AI, and of course I use Claude. Aha, aha. I use a lot of them.
So Claude, I use Claude too. You know, I used to call him my boyfriend, but I'm no longer exclusive.
Uh, you know, here's the thing. Everyone else came after me.
Okay, Claude. Okay, Claude.
Uh, so yeah, so it absolutely, gives us that leg up in that we know what good looks like. So, as opposed to someone coming in new, all right, they have new ideas, but how does that new idea that they have, how does that look? Do
Right.
they understand what, could this work? Is this possible? Where, you know, we have the ability to look at what the output is and determine, yeah, this makes sense to me. And we can move on and use that tool, use that output.
Love it. So, you spent a fair amount of years in the corporate sector, and now you've also worked some time on the public sector side. Are you seeing differences between how private sector and public sector is leveraging AI capabilities in the workplace?
Absolutely. So, in public sector, one of the things that I was dealing with just recently is, how do we implement AI, all right, and I guess this is kind of probably the same even on private sector, but in public sector, they have to follow the letter of the law. Like in Texas, there are laws governing the use of AI.
Right.
All right. And before you can use AI, because it's public sector, the things that you need to take into account around, usage, decision making, what decisions are being made, what data you putting in, what data you expecting to get out. And the human in the middle absolutely still have to be there in public sector today, all
Right.
right, because they have to follow these mandates that are coming down, not just from the federal government, but even more specific from state government.
Okay.
So in private sector, I think now in private sector we have to be very concerned about our audits, all right, and how the things that we're doing, how are those things going to line up to either have us pass or fail audits, all right. In public sector, who is doing the audits? It's the
Well,
government, right?
the
It's
government's
some
doing all that.
government,
The government, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
There's some government entity. So, so in private sector, those are the kind of things. But in private sector, I think we have a little more leeway
Yeah.
because we could do things in a sandbox,
Right.
check it out, play with it, without, and then once we get figure out how it works, then we figure out how it applies to the law.
No, and also in private, I would think once you figure out how it works, how do you scale it, right? And then drive it to sustainability of that capability in that workplace. So I think that private also has to scale, but they have to scale with governmental kind of restrictions and parameters that they have to follow. So I think it's an
Absolutely.
interesting concept around AI for private versus AI for public. So I appreciate you giving us that perspective. So tell us now, how do you, I know obviously you're using Claude, and I'm not sure why you're kind of keen to Claude, but I think it might be a name connection there. How else do you see people using AI effectively? And then are there ways where they're not using it effectively?
I had an interesting conversation with a Gen Zer,
Okay.
and he came to my office, and I had just developed this policy, and I said, "Come, let's look it over." And I made sure to say, "Look, we have to look this over. We have to read this through, right? Because I haven't looked it over yet." Put in my prompt, I got my output. He looked at it and it's like, man, this is all AI generated. I was like, yeah. It's like, well, but when you use AI, do you use your brain? Are you using your brain? I'm like, um, explain to me what you mean by that. It's
Right.
like, well, because I think when you use AI, you're not really using your brain. AI is doing everything for you. So I said to him, what if I told you if you don't use AI, you're not using your brain? All right. And he looks at me and he's like, wow, really? And it's like, yeah. And let me give you some examples. If I ask you, like this thing that I'm showing you, you think that I could have developed this without using AI? Let me tell you, and before you answer, let me tell you, yes, I could have.
Right.
I would have had to go in, do the research,
Right.
read articles, do this, do that, do everything, and put it together. It would have taken me a week, all
Right.
right, to put this together. AI, what AI did for me is it did all those
Accelerator.
things for me
Right.
instantaneously and
Right.
say, here it is. Now you can go validate it.
Right.
Now, and as I'm reading it, right, because again, I know what good looks like. I can tell you what good looks like. So I encourage you to use AI because if you're not using AI, all right, then you're going to be left behind.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know what I love about that is his thinking says that there's not a way I can do both. And I think what you're showing him is AI can help. It's an accelerator, but then I've got to put my mind share to digesting what's been sent to me, knowing what's right and wrong, and then driving the data that all came back instantaneously to drive insights. And those insights drive actions. But you have to have knowledge in order to know, is this right or wrong? Do I have to do a further validation? You know what they say in cybersecurity? We're not even having a
Right?
cyber conversation, but trust but verify.
Absolutely. Trust but verify.
Trust but verify. So, all right. Hey, last question. Because this is, I mean, we're almost out of time. If you were new to AI, how would you advise people? Give us one tidbit you would advise our audience on what they should do with AI every day, every way.
Listen, AI again is an accelerator. It's an efficiency multiplier. All right. And I mean, we think about it from this perspective in a corporate sense, but I mean, it can be used in so many different ways. Um, are you planning a party? Do you know all the things you need to do for a party? Look, you could go into AI and say, hey, I'm planning a party for this type of occasion. All
Right.
right, I'm really new to this. Can you give me some ideas as to what I should do in planning my party? And it gives you everything. Not only that, but it gives you everything that you asked it, and then
More and
it
more
will suggest, did you think about this, that, and the other thing? I mean, I mean, it takes the guesswork,
out of
all
it.
right, out of the things that you do every day. You want to cook something, you want a recipe. I mean, it's in there. We still have the other tools, obviously.
Right.
YouTube is always going to be YouTube, all
Right.
right? And those tools we're going to leverage in conjunction with AI. But yeah, man,
Uh,
you've got to use it.
you got to use it. Public sector, private sector, the guardrails that we have from the government, the freedom we have within corporate, but the freedom to use and to choose to leverage as accelerators are all great things. Claude, punchy, quick. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. And we'll talk to you on the other side.
Lovely. So nice to have a chat with Claude. His energy and passion for AI is infectious. Here is what I took away from the discussion. AI is an accelerator. It helps us get to answers faster, but experience and judgment still matter. Whether you're in the public or private sector, AI works best when there are clear guardrails and humans stay in the loop. The biggest takeaway? Don't be afraid to use AI. The people who learn to work with it will have a real advantage.
Thanks, Sophie. And thank you, Claude, for being part of this AI mashup. To my listeners, thank you for joining. Check us out on LinkedIn and YouTube. Listen, like, subscribe at The Fern Effect.